The following live broadcast is rated ESV PG. We just don't understand the term clean conversation. Good evening, everybody. On tonight's show, we'll be talking about various different things. Movies are back. We'll talk about businesses closing is something I wanted to cover at some point. But anything you want to talk about is our open forum show. So if you've got a subject that's on your mind, a topic you want to discuss, bring it up. We're here for you. That is why we do our Sunday open forum show. So enjoy it. Everybody ready over there?
Word.
Word. Let's do this. Good evening, everybody, and how the hell are you? I'm Keith Liffin here for Ear, Shoulder, Voice. Glad to have you back for another Sunday Open Forum. What's on your mind? How have things been going? Have you been doing anything exciting? Anything on your mind that you want to discuss with us? We're here for you on our Open Forum shows. That's what it's all about. Don't forget you can like, share, subscribe, and follow on to Ear, Shoulder, Voice on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram. We're on all those and LinkedIn as well. Chat live during the show. We'll respond to everything that you say. And other than that, just sit back and enjoy it. But we can't have a conversation with just me. We could, but then that's schizophrenia in a totally different show. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring in our panel. Our first panelist tonight, of course, you know who he is. He's always here. He's our open forum master. He's Anthony. How you doing, Anthony? Whoops, there we go. How you doing tonight? They messed up my whole interface on here. I've got to learn a whole new interface now.
That sounds fun.
So I'm still trying to figure all this out. I know, it is. So how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Yeah. All right, good conversation, good conversation.
Drinking.
Way to start the show off, Anthony.
Well, it happens. That's
Just
what happens when you drink too much during the week.
Good night last night.
Last night and every night.
So you've had a good time, then that's good. That's good. At least you're here to talk with everybody else,
it's all
and
good. Nothing.
You're not slurring too bad. We think we're good.
No, I think I've come over the hangover part.
You're a little quiet. Some people are probably going to mention that at some point, but we'll get you going.
I don't know how to get louder.
All right, fair enough. Well, let's bring out Gabe. He knows how to stay loud. Gabe, how you doing?
Yes, very loud.
Yes, you're always better. How's your week been going?
Good, very good. Went to Henry Ford today and got to check out the Jim Henson exhibit that they have there.
Nice. I didn't even know they had one right now.
They do. So it's free if you buy just a regular ticket for either Henry Ford or whatever.
The Jim Henson exhibit, is it just like puppets without hands?
It is essentially his career, sort of, from the beginning to of black and white Jimmy Dean show with Ralph, all the way to sort of the end with Labyrinth and Dark Crystal, things like that. So there's 25. Kermit is actually there. Some of the Muppet babies from Muppets Take Manhattan are there. Some Fraggles is awesome.
Now I want to check Fraggle Rock. Got to do it for Fraggle Rock. Cast your cares away. Yeah. Perfect song. Indeed. All right. Jan's here, by the way. Jan says there's a pet cobra on the loose where she is. Owners have all the paperwork. That's
What?
Well, stay in your house. Close the doors. Is it not in your house? Hopefully, hopefully they get that taken care of. Let's bring in our next panelist here. We've got Bill, the King. How you doing? We're gonna move you over there. There we go.
How's it going?
It's going fantastic, Bill. How about with you?
It's party weekend, so
it looks like you definitely look like you're in the party atmosphere right now compared to usual. I'm a little jealous. I forgot to buy alcohol. I'm drinking McDonald's iced tea. Cool, refreshing iced tea. Now pay me.
You gotta get Rally's.
Their tea's good too. I'm just a nice tea drinker.
Rally's raspberry tea is great.
I don't like any kind of sweetness in my tea at all. Fruit flavoring, anything. I just like plain unsweetened iced tea. I do not like any sugar tea and all that kind of crap. I go in the South and they try to push me back. I know. I go into the South. They've never heard of that.
Yeah, they're like, what? It's called sweet tea. Sweet
Right,
tea.
exactly. Formal Foundation's back. Good to see you, Formal. Says, boom, Gabe's back. All right, you got a fan there, Gabe. It's Sundays, boys and girls. Just boys today, but we can be a girl if you want. Today's random question of the week. Oh, okay. You have 48 hours or all-time stops. We're going to get to this in a minute. We're going to cover some other things as well, because you seem to keep us on topic for a while. 48 hours where all-time stops. People cannot see you or do anything. What would you do? I'm looking to see what type of things people do under the guise if no one knows or can do anything. We're going to think about that, and we're going to get back to that question in a little bit on there. To answer Jan's here, Jan says, so besides high blood pressure, gout, and kidney disease, which I have magnified to stabilize, now I had to get 2 chest x-rays. Gabe's gone. Boom, Gabe's gone. Oh, jeez. Everything keeps going wrong with you, Jan. I hope you're going to be okay. The kidney has been being taken care of. I'm glad to hear that, because you've talked about that with us before. High blood pressure and gout, and hopefully get the gout taken care of. Gout is a very painful thing that I know a lot of people have gone through. And now 2 chest x-rays. But getting procedures isn't as bad, because that's where they can find out if something's wrong and get it fixed. Always look on the positive side of that stuff. On there. We hope you do. And Gabe is back. Welcome back, Gabe.
Yeah, my mic for some reason,
I thought you were just doing that to
flakes
piss
out.
off Formal Foundation. It's like, boom, Gabe's back, and you're like, fuck you, I'm not back.
Yeah,
Just disappear.
I don't know. It's like I got to unplug it and then plug it back in, and then it sort of fixes itself.
Well, that's good on there. So what else did everybody do? Movies are back. Movies are back.
Yes.
Anybody see Suicide Squad?
I did.
You did. What'd you think of it?
I liked it.
I thought it was leaps and bounds better than the first one.
For sure.
Really?
Okay, but
I did.
still,
Yeah, I did. Yeah, too.
John Cena's outfit in there was
It was weird. Boom, he's
the
gone.
little silver mask and everything.
It was, but by design, I'm sure.
The only difference I found, like the first one to me, the first version of the Suicide Squad felt like DC Suicide Squad, but a bad movie.
Yeah.
This one, I thought was a much better movie, but felt less like Suicide Squad. The end,
Yeah.
it picked up. It definitely picked up towards the end, but up to that point. So I thought it was an interesting choice. But you thought it was underwhelming, Anthony. I'm surprised
I
on
was
that one.
disappointed. It didn't feel
Well,
like
all right,
Suicide
so-
Squad.
Do you guys read the comics?
Not
No.
not much anymore. Like when I was a kid and then a teenager, it was probably early 20s, and then
Right. So actually, the first Suicide Squad was more like the comics than the second one was,
Hmm.
as far
Okay.
as like how they were doing things, and
Right.
everything like that. And then John Cena being an idiot walking through the show, just trying to be, Mr. Macho with everybody and stuff. And it was like, it wasn't the same way the characters used to be in there whenever they switched everything off. But I don't read the comics too much anymore, but I caught all that when it first came
well, that's what I meant when I said like the first one I thought felt more like a Suicide Squad film, but a bad
Right.
film. Whereas this one
Right.
felt less like the Suicide Squad film, but it was a good film.
Okay, but how can it be a bad film if you've got Margot Robbie there in short shorts? All right, I'm just saying.
It's I don't even know. Did they edit them in this? Because they did that in the first one. Margot Robbie's shorts, they actually edited to make them more appealing. I think it was. They edited out the shorts that she was wearing.
No,
For
I
both
mean,
of them.
In the second one that I watched the other day on not your Plex, but on the other one, it was she didn't have the same kind of like more revealing
subscription.
costumes on. So I guess
HBO Max is what he said.
Jan says Walking Dead is coming back for a final finale in a few weeks. Is it finally done? I thought the show's pretty much had its run.
Yeah.
I haven't heard The Walking Dead mentioned in years.
Yeah, I
so.
know.
Did you guys watch Making of a Murderer?
No.
I never watched that. I heard it was really good.
Okay, so that was about Stephen Avery and stuff like that. So it kind of like fell off, and stuff because he went back to jail, and even though he's got this high-pitched lawyer and stuff was going after everything, it still kind of calmed down. Well, Stephen Avery's mom passed away.
Hmm.
Now all of a sudden Netflix is interested in it again to put it back on because his mom passed away and going back talking to the lawyer and stuff, and they're thinking about putting it back up. So.
Not off. Formal said, anyone else see the actress who plays Mantis in Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, there's a ton of cameos. James Gunn's
There was
brothers
gonna
in
say.
at the beginning. She plays a lounge singer for a second, and then obviously, I mean, it was definitely a James Gunn film. It felt like an extension of Guardians of the Galaxy for sure, except sort of ultra violent and stuff like that. Some of the stuff in there, I could see how it was overwhelming if you sort of saw, some of the Deadpools and things like that, because some of it was sort of a rehash of that. But I thought it was way better than the first one.
I did too. I did not like the first.
It took time with character development and things like that, so I cared about a lot of the people in there, whereas opposed to the other movie, just to me, just kind of fizzled out.
Formal says James Gunn's brother is also Weasel.
Right.
As well on there. That was one of them. And he says, as far as he's concerned with the Suicide Squad, it had too many dick shows for his liking, but overall decent film. And in general, I would agree with that, except for I accept it in this because they're supposed to be that kind of person. Like the characters in the film are supposed to be those assholes, showing off and all this sort of stuff.
John Cena's supposed to be a Captain America that is patriotic by any means necessary,
Which I thought this was a good role for him, actually, because I don't like John Cena all that much, and I thought him playing a dick was good. Jan says, and Midwife Calling is shooting now, too. I don't know what Midwife Calling is. It'll air on Netflix later this year. Love my series on that. Any other shows or movies that anybody's looking forward to? Anything anybody saw good? Just let us know, because that's what we're here. We want to talk about you and what you've seen and what you've done.
So they are currently
he's talking about actual dicks, not people being dicks.
I didn't notice the dicks.
I thought there was only one dick in the movie. Like an actual dick, and that was when they were shooting it up, and the guy walked out, big guy, and he had a shirt but no pants on. And he was shot.
I can't remember.
On there.
Did he get shot in the dick?
I don't think it showed. It just showed it really quick. I didn't know if they were actually in there. I didn't actually notice too many. Maybe there were. Now I got to watch it again for the dicks to find out if I like it. All right. Jan says, been watching Hollywood Graves 2. We talked about that briefly on one of our last show of Hollywood Graves. I still haven't seen it, but I would definitely want to. Definitely going to want to. Because it sounds interesting.
You can actually get it on YouTube.
Is it on there? Speaking of YouTube, it's not even going to be. Cobra Kai should be coming back soon. I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
And they're currently filming The Last of Us television series, which has
Formal, you're funny.
the two of the people from Game of Thrones in it. I can't. It's the guy who plays the Mandalorian.
Okay.
Steve Buscemi?
No, not even close.
Oh my God, Steve Buscemi.
Steve Buscemi ought to be everybody.
That's true.
Has anybody watched Miracle Workers?
I couldn't get into the first season.
The first season I liked. The second season I didn't. This third one is freaking hilarious. Steve Buscemi's awesome in it. And I actually really like the third one. It's Oregon Trail.
What is Miracle Workers about?
Originally, the premises was pretty much the miracle workers are the people that work in God's arena, pretty much. The clerical workers and stuff. Get shit done, put people together. Steve Buscemi plays God. And he's just tired. It's like, I just want to get rid of it all. And it's. I found it funny. He didn't get into it. I found it funny to a point. And each season, it's an anthology thing. So each season's a new one. The last one was like, I think it was an Irish roll. I didn't like it. I didn't really get into it. And this one's Oregon Trail, and it kind of follows the game Oregon Trail in a lot of ways.
Oh, really?
It does, like so little Easter eggs in it and stuff.
Shooting food, only carrying...
Yeah, they actually did a whole hunting scene that was like a live version of hunting in the original Oregon Trail game, and I thought it was really funny. It was really cool. Back to what he's saying, I'm going to go this... not there, where it was. Formal said, at least 5 dick cameos, also counting Weasel's dick show. I didn't even notice that Weasel had a dick. Honestly, I missed it. And I saw it in theaters, so that would have been like a life-size dick.
Mm-hmm. A hairy one there.
I didn't even realize there was that much in there. I mean, it's weird the society we live in where this can be an issue for somebody on a film. But, I mean, I would have an issue if there were 5 tits, but not if there were 4 or 6 in there.
Yeah. You need Total Recall.
What do you think about when Bad Lieutenant came out and what's his name was in there, walking around naked and stuff? I mean, that went bad. They were trying to get that X-rated and shit just because he was walking around without a pants on.
Right, and it's such a weird. Are you in today's day and age, since this is all guys on the panel and tits have always been accepted, does male genitalia put you off of a movie nowadays or anything?
No.
Do you like that's unnecessary shit, or it's just have you accepted it's part of the movie? I guess since everybody's watched Game of Thrones, everybody's accepted it to this point.
With me, if the guy's walking around naked for the whole film, I'm not watching it. Sorry.
I mean, there's certain limits to it. Honestly, I didn't like watching Watchmen, the first Watchmen, when it came out in theaters, because of the big blue dick throughout the movie. I'm like, it's kind of an unnecessary thing to have, for no other reason. But I mean, just as far as you have a scene that it fits within the movie, it's okay. It's not an issue, and that doesn't turn anybody off movies anymore. Pretty much,
To me, it's fair play.
that's the way I think it is, and I think it should be a lot of times. But I do think there are some shows, and I'd actually accuse like Game of Thrones, True Blood got to doing it, where they push it too far, and they're only doing it to push the envelope, and that gets irritating.
They do, but they don't. I mean, when you sort of break down, you go to a lot of movies, and sometimes you see a dick, and then you're like, oh my god, I'm surprised there's a dick in this movie.
Right.
Meanwhile,
Yeah, but you got Game of
we
Thrones.
were just talking
Game of Thrones,
about
their first season, the first episode.
Harley
or whatever.
Quinn.
I mean, wasn't that the rape scene?
being downdressed for the entire movie. You know what I mean? It's we've
or they added her shorts on Harley Quinn. That's what it was.
Right. And with this movie, she was actually, she was in the red dress, I would say, the bulk of the movie. I'm sure that was a talk to choice by her.
I mean,
so
I've got to
she
say,
wasn't in sort of fishnet stockings and things like that. So
I do got to say that she made that movie. For that entire movie was the turning point. There's that scene with, I'm not going to talk about it for spoilers, but you know what scene I'm talking about. From then on, the whole movie changed. And the whole view of Harley and everything, I was like, this isn't right. And I was like, holy shit. And I love Joker wasn't there. Wasn't the thing with the Joker. They avoided that, tried to get that in there, or tried to avoid getting that in there, which was a mistake of the first one because they ran on the wings of the Joker being in the film, and they barely had him in it. Yeah,
but I mean, DC is not as well lubricated as Marvel when it comes to the lore of everything, of all the gears moving. You know what I mean? There's so many different mini universes in that movie series that throwing in stuff doesn't necessarily pair up.
It is a formal foundation on Miracle Workers, just Harry Potter after Hogwarts, right? Yeah, Daniel Radcliffe is also in the movie, and he had the last episode of Miracle Workers for anybody that did see it out there. Of course, he does a scene that just blew my mind, just knowing it was Harry Potter doing it. It was really fucked up. It was in the last episode. That's what I was going to bring up, but nobody saw it at that point. But you're right about DC.
Number 2 the other night, and Daniel Radcliffe was in it, and I was like, fucking Harry Potter.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird to say. At least he's trying to do other things, though. He's trying to get out of that shadow of...
Well, have you ever seen that one movie where he's carrying around that dead body of... I can't remember what it's called. It's
Not
one of the
Black String.
It's one of the most fucked up things you'll ever see.
I know which one you're talking about. Can't remember the name of it.
It's killing me now.
You're right. I was going back to what you were saying.
Carrying around a dead body.
I think with DC, by the way, going back to the DC comment you made with them, not being well lubricated, I think they're finding their niche in certain movies, and I think the dark and gritty is where they need to go, but they also need to not try to be Marvel at the same time. The Dark Knight was amazing because it was dark, gritty, and tried to throw a sense of realism into it.
Right.
This movie, I thought Suicide Squad succeeded in being dark, gritty, Deadpool-esque in what they tried to do.
Right.
And that's what they need to do. But when they try to compete with a Marvel-style movie, DC can't do that. They've got to see where their strong point is. DC was always a darker comic.
DC in the comics, they changed their character. So, like the guy that was Green Lantern, Hal, whatever his name was, he went from being the Green Lantern to being this person to being that person and stuff. And they changed it all the time when it was comic books. And a lot of people got turned off from that because you went to Marvel and the character was the character for the rest of your life.
Yeah, DC tended to pass the torch quite often. You have so many people that played Robin and Batman, and Nightwing, and Marvel did it too. I mean, how many people played Captain America and of
Right,
people
but
took
not
the
as
mantle,
much
but
as
not as
DC's done it
often.
through the years.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. DC did a lot of that. Jan says, and in between my movies and games, I'm making Afghans from donated yarn to donate. That's really cool. That's nice of you to do to keep you warm. My grandma used to do Afghans all the time. She used to love knitting those and sending them to people. And there's nothing that really beats having an Afghan. Those are just cool. I wish more people made them. You don't see them as much anymore. I like that you're doing that. Back to the comment about the tits. Formal Foundation says, I think it'd be off if there was 5 tits as opposed to 6. However, like Gabe said, Total Recall, you get those 3 tits. And you always want a tit in the back for when you're dancing. So, something to hold on to.
There's a loose tit somewhere.
Yes, exactly. The Formal Foundation says, I don't think it's a case of me thinking it's a shit film. It's more when it's not needed in order to tell me that John Cena has a bigger dick than me. Like, that shit was pretty obvious. I don't even remember seeing that. Oh, I know what you're talking. Are you talking about like through his underwear? I think I know what scene he's talking about right now. John Cena showed up in just his underwear in one of the scenes. And that's probably what he's referring to. So not actually, I don't think he's referring to dick out, just showing like even the outline of one.
Sure.
And I wasn't saying that you like think it's a shit film in there, and I don't mind, like you said, if it's part of the story, it doesn't bother me. But yeah, sometimes they just put in there to try to push the envelope. And DC, like their TV shows too, kind of knows how to do that, or tries to do that quite often. What is Bill doing? He like frozen a really weird thing. Yeah. It's like crushing heads or something.
Don't push this button.
Oh, I'll push that button. Formal Foundation says, I think it's a redemption arc rather than cutting him out. Like the reason the first one is so Joker heavy is to ensure you know how fixated she was on Joker, and now this one she's looking for someone to love, but has learned, hence the scene, which is like, bam, she's learned. Yeah, and let's face it was Jared Leto, and I didn't like Jared Leto's Joker at all.
Yeah, no.
It was a different take on it, but I didn't think it was a good one. You're awfully quiet over there, Anthony. What's your opinion?
I don't really
All right, good talking, yeah. Anthony is not the talker of this show. I'm noticing that right now.
Well, you got to give me a chance to say something before just saying, oh, we're not going to say anything, then we'll move on.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I liked the first Suicide Squad. I thought it was a good movie. I didn't mind the Joker. I feel like everyone was like, oh, he didn't play a good Joker, but he never really had a chance to play a Joker, right? You never really got to see what he could have done if he played a part, because they edited a little bit here, a little bit there.
Oh, I know.
They edited like half hour, 45 minutes of him out of that movie.
Yeah. So I feel like
this new Suicide Squad, what happened to Flag's woman?
That happened to
she's not in there.
Yeah, she's gone.
Right, but I mean, she was a major part of the first one. That was part of what they were going
because this was supposed to be a reboot as well as a pseudo sequel. Like it wasn't truly supposed to follow it. And I get it. And I didn't like Jared Leto as a Joker. Period. And I didn't like the character. I don't like. That's one thing I hate about DC, especially now, whereas Marvel is going into a centralized universe, really, with its characters. DC is constantly changing. The Dark Knight Joker versus the Batman vs. Superman Joker versus the Suicide Squad Joker are totally different incarnations.
Yeah.
Or not Batman, the other Joker. I'm sorry, I'm skipping one. And it's like every time they're trying to reinvent the character and saying, this is what we got, let's stick with it. I realize that Dark Knight was Christopher Nolan, but that's the character people fell in love with. And you're going so polar opposite in what they're doing with Lex Luthor changing in the Supermans. Lex Luthor keeps changing, and everybody has to keep changing every film, and I think that's what's hurting them, and that's because you get used to that in the universe.
Yeah. Well, in the Dark Knight trilogy, that, for me, was the best DC movies. And there hasn't been a single DC movie to come close to any of those.
Mm-hmm. Well, I agree with that. That was the pinnacle of of DC films, as far as I'm concerned. Formal Foundation says, yeah, but we've referenced the comics, there are 3 Jokers. And that's fine. And what I'm saying, like, I'm fine with Jack Nicholson's take on the Joker for the 80s films. It held a continuity throughout that. That was the Joker for a long time. For decades, that was the epitome of the Joker. And then Heath Ledger came along. Okay, now we've got a new epitome of the Joker. But then just a couple years later, we're totally reinventing the character again.
Sure.
Like, we're not sticking to that timeline we need to stick to with these characters.
Well,
different directors, different producers want to do it different all the damn time.
Yeah. But that's where you make the mistakes, though. That's what I'm saying. It's not that there's not reason behind it.
The smart move behind Marvel is that Kevin Feige signed these multi picture deals in order to keep the characters consistent in the actors, with the exception of Don Cheadle as the War Machine, right?
War Machine.
So,
yeah. Well, and the Hulk.
And the Hulk, right? So, but for the most part, Marvel has stayed much more consistent. Whereas,
and
you
what's
have
it done for them?
Right.
Great things.
Great. So you have these DC movies that are sort of one-offs. There's no sort of clear vision, and that's fine if you want to make everything one piece. But that's where it gets into the, well, you're expecting this person to be in it, but it just might not be the same kind of shared universe. So you're left disappointed at something that wasn't going to happen anyway.
And the other thing is, you don't have the same people being the same characters in stuff like that all the time. And then you had Marvel, where as soon as Disney got everything, then the other directors and stuff like that are doing it outside Disney and making their own thing and everything. So
Right.
and it changed. The thing is the real, and I'll go with this, the real Big Bang Theory type of nerds and shit like that who go to comic books and stuff like that, they're the ones that complain about this the most, because you're not following the comic book. This is not the way it is. That's not the way it is when you change it over and you remake it and redo it and stuff. So.
And Formal says, I mean, they could just wrap that up in the multiverse of Joker. Each one is a different variation. Again, I accept that as being a multiverse. Mm-hmm. I just think you got to stick with it for a while, because DC is trying to create a universe as well. And when you create a universe, you can't use that multiverse defense, because they're trying to do the DCU. They should stick with their thing, and it's worked wonders for Marvel. Like, a Marvel movie comes out, you know who and what to expect out of that movie.
Yeah.
Who you're going to see.
Well, and DC had the run with the TV series, right? With the Flash and the Arrow and all of that.
Right.
And those I thought were pretty good at the start. Mm-hmm. But then they started, what was it? They did Justice League, and they cast a different Flash.
Right.
Right? And it's like, well, why not use the guy that everyone has grown to know as DC's Flash?
Right. And Flash is a good example of doing the multiverse thing.
Yeah.
You know, that show particularly brings in the 90s Flash and this Flash, etc.
Well, and then too, they did with they did overs with Supergirl, Arrow, and then what was that other one? The
Black Canary.
No, the other TV series that they started, with the time travelers.
Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that brought in the multiverse and explained all of that shit.
Yeah, and I'm okay with the multiverse thing. Like you were saying with the TV show, why not use the character people grew up with? Because in our heads, when we see that, it's like we have to learn to like somebody new. Mm-hmm. And we have to accept it, and we have to dismiss our thoughts on the old versions of these characters. It happened going back to the Superman Lex Luthor thing. Gene Hackman was Lex Luthor. For decades, that was Lex Luthor. Kevin Spacey comes in. We have to learn to somehow like Kevin Spacey in this role. Kevin Spacey did an awesome Lex Luthor when he did the role. Like him or hate him now with the scandal or everything, because Lex Luthor was a great one. Yeah. So you adjust to it, so now we got it. And the next one is frickin' Social Network guy.
Yeah.
Like,
there's a mismatch.
Yeah, and it's stuff like that you're not just changing the actor that portrays them, you're changing the character.
Yeah, the whole dynamic and conflict, and like, can this person match up with Batman? And he could not, for sure. You know, no matter how much of a dick he was, it just didn't play out right. He just seemed like a whiny little bitch.
Did they bring the Flash? Formal Foundation says they have, with bringing Keaton and bringing Flash into the Flash.
The rumor is that Keaton's coming back and Affleck's going to be in it too.
I heard that Keaton was, but then I've also heard things that is just rumor.
Yeah, so I don't know.
With Keaton, so I'm not sure if he's going to or not. And I mean, I get what they're trying to do, but find your niche. And Spider-Man was supposed to be doing it too. The new Spider-Man by Marvel was supposed to be doing the same thing with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield's, and Tom Holland's.
Right, because it's multiverse, yeah.
Yeah, because they're going to multiverse it, and then you've still got more, I'm sure. And I don't know. I hope they do. I wish DC would find their footing, because when DC nails it, they do nail it. But it's just so rare and far in between. And Nolan was the example, and like that's what you take that role.
You know what I'd love to see?
Yeah.
Is, the tales of horror and the tales of mystery and tales of suspense, all those multi-tier comic books where you had, it was almost like Tales from the Crypt,
Yeah.
I would love to see those sort of restarted in the Marvel or DC universe.
That would be interesting. I've always wondered why they haven't done that with certain series and shows, like create an anthology type series. Right. Whether it's weekly anthology, season anthology, or what, with the superheroes. Mm-hmm. What do you think would benefit most from it?
Probably DC. Right?
DC would. What about you? What would you want to see, Anthony?
I'm not really sure. I don't follow it too much.
Because they're kind of, Disney's trying to pull that shit with Marvel in a sense with their mini series that they've been doing, like WandaVision.
They're trying to get an Aquaman series out, but all the women want what's his name to be in it, and he's not going to do it. So, what's his name? Jason Momoa.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which is fair on that if he doesn't want to, and you're going to cast because that's fine. But my issue was always changing the character though more. Get us like somebody else because they won't star, especially when it comes to from series to film. As much as they're doing better, we've been used to our whole life that you have a different character in a series than you do a film typically, or actor portraying them. They're finally getting closer with that. I hope they do. Anthologies should come back. I think they should do that with a few different shows, like Stephen King works and stuff like that. The problem you get, like the Stephen King, there's so many adaptations now on there. But what they do is they take stuff like Under the Dome, which should have been one season and done, supposed to be a miniseries.
Oh, terrible.
And the first half of the first season was phenomenal. It was like right with the book and everything, and they said, let's make more money. Changed it, fucked it up. But why not have... In the same route, though, why not have a Stephen King show? Like, season 1 is Under the Dome. Season 2 is Carrie. Season 3 is The Shining. Season 4, so you can tell each story without having to worry about destroying it by trying to monopolize on it and civilize it. All right, so, okay, well, that's movies for you. That's DC mostly and superheroes. Education, your kids are going back to school, Gabe. Kids going back to school.
Yes.
Is she going, it's in person now?
It's going to be, yes.
Somebody was asking me, that's why I'm bringing it up. They were saying they were curious about how you felt about the current education system right now.
Well, she's going to be going to a charter school, so we're going to try that out. It's a fairly new one, and looks good on paper. So my concern is that she's been out for a year and a half. You know what I mean? So we have done our best to teach her. She's excellent at reading. I just don't know where she's going to fall when it comes to math and writing, So she's going in the second grade. How well she'll perform at that point is up in the air. So we won't know until that happens, but that's going to happen soon, and, we'll go from there. But she's excited. I'm excited.
All of us... Hi, Bill. All of us have been through... You froze the right spot, too. All right, all of us have been through 3 different generations of schooling, pretty much, here. And you're dealing with another generation of schooling. Do you see anybody here see it as has declined or gotten better with the advent of, like, the virtual learning? I'm not saying COVID-related virtual learning, but the capabilities that it presents. Do you think it's getting better or worse for the kids?
I know 2 teachers, and they are doing their damnedest. I mean, one of them is in Hazel Park here in Warren, and they do their damnedest, and they fight for everything they can to teach their kids. And they're grade school teachers, so and I think that the teachers in grade school are doing better for the kids more so than the upper grade stuff like that. So
okay, what about you, Anthony? You're the most recent to graduate from school. If you graduated.
Yeah, I did. I feel like with technology, there are things that are made easier, and you can learn a little bit easier, but it's also kind of like a catch-22, because then you get attached to having to do and use technology. I still kind of appreciate learning things on paper, right? Paper and pencil, you learn the basics, and then this is how you can use technology to make it easier, but still learn the fundamentals with paper and pen.
A lot of people would argue, is it necessary to learn these fundamentals with paper and pencil, being that most people don't use paper and pencil anymore for a lot of things. It's literally becoming an obsolete item.
Well, I just know...
it's like getting newspapers delivered to you. It doesn't work anymore. It doesn't go.
So, in my field, right, with what I do, we have to know the concepts, right? And now there's a spreadsheet, you put your numbers in, and it does all the math for you, right? So there's no need to know how to do it, but I think it's beneficial to know, okay, this is where it comes from, so that if you don't have the, spreadsheet that does all the math for you, you can still at least look at it and go, does this make sense? Does the number come out make sense? Because ultimately, technology is just doing what we tell it to.
Well, we used to joke when we were kids, when it came to learning math and showing your works, like, we'll just get a calculator and do it. But there was a stupid answer, because not everybody's going to have a calculator on them their entire life. Little did we know, everybody's got a calculator on them now their entire life. Like, the technology is there that we made fun of. Is it really as necessary? Common sense, and when I graduated, yes, it's necessary. But just trying to forward think on this, am I just being old school?
I would like to see...
graduated from, it's like,
See, I'd like to see...
That's where I graduated from, too, Keith.
Right.
I'd like to see a study of whether or not sort of cognitive memory is affected at all by sort of the new methods versus sort of the old methods. Because you have all of those crutches and sort of immediate access to the facts and on your phone, so that you can find out immediately, who lives here or the history of this and things like that. So versus the old ways where you had to keep everything in your head, and that was how you did it. So is it more effective that way, which I think it probably is, because you're storing all of this information it's not going into long term, you know what I mean? It's more like short term bursts of knowledge, and it's sort of in and out because you got the answer that you want, so you don't need to retain it anymore. And what do you think?
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm the oldest guy here, all right? So when I was in school, it was always...
I'm over 29.
Yes. You always have to show your work. You have to do this, And I had a couple of my teachers when I started algebra in 6th grade. They were like, "Hey, you're not showing your work. You get an F." And I used to bitch about it. I finally, my parents came up there, the principal came in, and my algebra teacher put 5 problems across the board. And I sat there, looked at them, I wrote down the answers. And the principal's like, "Are they right?" He's like, "Right." Well, the thing is, it doesn't matter even if you're right. They want you to show your work, and I tried to tell them you can't. And then they went into the new math. Whenever it changed the new math, and you have to do it this way, I was like, and I used to tell my parents, I said, "I can't do it that way. I don't care." I said, "I look at it. I know what it is." I mean, numbers was my thing when I was young. And you had different teaching techniques as you got older all the damn time.
Yeah. See, new math amazes me in a way. People hate it. They think it's stupid. They're like, "Wait, you got to do all this to come up with it's retarded." I disagree, because just like you, Bill, when I was doing math, especially in school, math was one of my top subjects. And look at the problem, write the answer. No issues whatsoever. And I look at new math, it's confusing everybody, but I think back in my head, this is the routine I actually used to figure this out in my head, was this new math that they're doing. So not as drawn out as they're due. Yeah, Common Core, sorry.
Right, but what goes through your head, you can't put it on paper sometimes.
Right. But what they are teaching is that process that made me come up with answers quicker and faster.
And it helps other people. I understand that. My daughter has the same thing. My daughter's IQ is higher than mine. All right.
Well, that's a low bar.
Yeah, shut up, Larry. My IQ is actually 167. My daughter's IQ is 173. All right, and she was mathematical too, just like I was. But the whole thing is, by the time she went to school, it wasn't just the new math; it was like the third level new math.
Yeah, okay.
Where they pushed you and told you, you do it this way, you do it that way, you do it that way. And the new math for her, when it was, the only thing I told her when she was young, I said, Jerica, I said, you could do like 2 numbers multiplied by 3 out of your head. I said, but with what you're learning here, you could do 3 numbers multiplied by 5. Right. And have it in a couple of seconds on a piece of paper.
That's what I mean. It's not as outrageous as people think it is. But you're trying to teach a process the mind comes up with kind of on its own. And that, I think, is what's difficult to do. What about your learning on that, Anthony?
Well, I don't like the whole show your work and have to do it a specific way that something was taught with math. Because I had some teachers where they'd write their way of doing things and I'd look at it and I go, that doesn't fucking make any sense to me.
Right.
I'm going to do it this way because that's how it just works in my head. So I'd write the answers down and even if I showed my work, it wasn't the way that the teachers taught it. So they had an issue with it. And I said, look, that's the question. I gave you the right answer. Doesn't matter how I got there. Like, I wrote down what I did as work, but I hate the whole show your work and you have to learn it this way because not everyone learns the same way. Not everyone's brain functions the same way.
We mostly all did that. I mean, it seems like everybody in this panel was one who had a problem with showing the work because we'd come up with the answer, but showing the work was stupid. But is there any kind of argument to be made for the analytical thinking it takes to get there and what it's actually teaching you? Because I don't think it's teaching you how to do the problem. I think it's teaching you problem solving in steps.
Yeah, it's
and then that was the other thing too. Is your teacher going to teach you the right way, or are they going to say, hey, this is what you do? I mean, my whole thing when I was young is I hated when in the middle of the summer I was wearing a long sleeve shirt in class and it's 100 degrees in there, and he'd come over and pull up my sleeve and saw all my answers on my arm. That pissed me off, But
right.
So I guess the question is, because I'm not familiar with it, do Common Core methods transfer over to geometry and things like that? Or are you... See, I don't even know the answer to that.
I have no idea anything about
I'm not really sure.
When you start getting into calculus classes as a high schooler nowadays, when you're learning Common Core as in elementary school, are you going to reapply all of those methods that you learned? Or are they continuing that into calculus?
I imagine you will, actually. I do believe it actually would carry and help you in the future.
Okay.
But that was always the big thing when you were young in school. It's like, why do I need to learn this? I'm not going to use this in common life. And it also has to do with what kind of job you get after school. And if you learn that, you keep it in your head. Again, ignorance isn't being stupid. It's you don't have the ability or you didn't take the ability to learn. So you learn it and then you can use it. But if you don't got it there, you're not going to use it.
Right. And that's why I think it will actually carry over for them. They're going to learn how to do it, though. I think as they get further, that's going to help. But it's something we can't understand because we were taught under different guys altogether. We were taught.
I believe mathematics, algebra, and geometry help you in life. I really do.
Oh, 100%. And
it's all garbage. I don't believe in it. It's never helped anything.
When you go above that, when you go to trigonometry or analytic geometry or calculus and stuff like that, unless you're going into a field that's going to use that, it's not something for you.
I don't think people use math anymore. I think it's an unnecessary thing. I don't think any of the 3 people on this panel use math at all.
Not at all.
Honestly, it's not
all
necessary.
the damn time, Larry.
No, I use a computer that does math for me.
No, but it is important to learn, and a lot of people do. But there's also the thing to be said that the internet has made it really hard to teach people. Because when we learn something, we're finding out that some stuff we learned wasn't right as time's, going by. That we learn differently. People are constantly learning. And now a kid can go home and look on his, or even stay at school and look on his phone and find a different way to do something. or a different answer or prove the teacher wrong and do things we were never capable of. So that's got to be a really hard job, I think, right now for teachers to compete with the internet.
Wikipedia is not the Encyclopedia Britannica.
But people think it is. Mm-hmm. But
Wait,
by the same token, not everything in the Britannica was accurate.
Wait, what is an encyclopedia? People don't know that anymore.
Wikipedia with truth.
Right.
Wikipedia is the truth, isn't it?
Well, the problem is with
maybe not.
It is
Wikipedia,
cited by sources.
Right. You can log into Wikipedia and change anything you want about.
Yeah,
anything.
literally, you could do it right now. I could do it.
Right.
I know, it always cracks me up because it says, hey, do you have a comment on this post? Did you change this post? Do you have no more knowledge? I was like, what?
All right, Formal, are you still here, Formal Foundation? Because I'll get back to your question. I want to address it. I know that once we do this, we're going to be on it for a while. So are you still here, Formal Foundation? I want to bring up one more thing, too, that I wanted to discuss. People don't want to work right now because of the unemployment thing. That's what people are saying, right? But I want to take a different look at this from the actual employers. Do you think employers and businesses are starting to become lazy and not want to stay open and not want to work? I'm looking at some of these places right now that are closing early, refusing to stay open, not open late anymore. I mean, we've got a Hardee's that closed at 2:30 in the afternoon. We got different places that are doing this. Do you think it's all really legitimately because they can't get employers? Do you think some of these places are getting fucking lazy too? And like taking the grants offered to businesses and just not wanting to keep them open?
Kroger is getting employees, but they're not training them, and they just go up and down the aisles and just sit up there. I went to the grocery store the other day, Kroger in Hazel Park, and the people that were stocking the aisles the two women were in the same aisle. So the one woman had 6 cases of Gatorade, and I went up and down all the aisles and had to go back into that aisle. Walked back in the aisle, and she had 4 cases of Gatorade put on the shelf, and that was 45 minutes later. They're not sitting there training them, telling them what you do, how fast you need to move, and what goes on.
But why can't they train them? Why can't they train them? And I'm looking at
I mean, you still have, so like Kroger and all the major food chains or the major store chains, they still have all their management still there. They didn't leave their job because
that's exactly what I'm referring to right now.
And they're not there now because you can't find a manager in a damn store. Hey, where's your manager? We can't find this. Oh no, he's not here today, or he's off on here. He's doing this. He's over there. Blah blah blah. No.
That's what I'm referring to. Some of me thinks it's lazy. I think back like when I was growing up and when we got jobs working in the food industry or fast food, if there was 2 of us in that frickin' building, we made that shift happen. And we could run that shift. We could do it during the drunk time. We could do it during the busy time, the dinner rush, any of that. We could handle it. And now we don't have 12 people, so we can't run it. We're just going to close the building. And I'm seeing that a lot, and I'm like, I know these places have employees right now. Maybe not the number they want. And I know they've got managers that could work these shifts. And I think that some of these businesses are actually taking the lazy route out. And I'm not saying all of them because I know there are also businesses struggling out there. And do you, Anthony or Gabe, do you think that's the case at all either?
I mean, I'd be silly to say that that's not the case at all. But, it's kind of one of those, I find it hard to believe that a lot of places are doing that, being that most fast food chains that I drive by are offering $300-$500 signing bonuses just to bring people on, right? And what was it? The Burger King by me, they had to shut down for a couple days because they didn't have staff, right? And the last time I was there, they had 2 people working. There's someone taking orders and someone cooking. There were 2 people in that whole building, and if they only have 2 people working the full day by themselves or 2 shifts, it's hard to stay open the hours, especially when you don't have the crowd and the draw and the need for it.
And I agree with that, but I also agree with what Bill said about managers. There are managers there that could do those shifts. One of the things being a manager, when I started working at Sunglass Hut and I had my own store, back when they were a big thing, I was there, I did over 106 hours a week. Open to close every single day before and afterwards.
Yes.
Because I was a manager, I had 0 employees, I had to make this shit run. And if we were short-staffed and we had one or two people at the restaurant, usually two, I won't say one, at the restaurants we were doing, we made the shit happen no matter how hard it was because we were management. We had to get it taken care of. And I kind of get the feeling that some of these places are, well, fuck it. I can just go home.
Yeah. Well, you still, like Anthony said, you still have, like the fast food place, so the Rallies here in Hazel Park and the McDonald's here in Hazel Park, they're not getting the food there that they need to serve. So, like I was just talking to you about the tea, all right? Mm-hmm. Rallies doesn't have raspberry tea. They didn't have enough fries that they would actually, for a little while, they were telling you, oh, we can't give you a large fry. We can only give you a small fry right now.
There is something to the chain of command.
The stock coming in there.
Yeah.
And they only had a couple people working in there. And the reason is they didn't have that many customers going in and out of the restaurant anymore. So,
right. What were you going to say, Gabe?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's greed on a spectacular level right now from companies, especially the big ones that are able to exploit the situation and blame it on the pandemic. So, in my experience, everything is so compressed because there are not enough employees to handle the workload, that all of that main workload gets bogged down to a fraction of the people that used to cover everything. And I think a lot of the people that decided to stay or that have been working through the pandemic are the ones that are getting the most shit on because they're taking the bulk of it. And I don't know. To me, it's just. It's a vicious cycle because you're causing people to go nuts.
Well, without mentioning the business or names, I had 3 people that were in a bar that I was working at the time, and it was for an establishment that closes much earlier. And we were just talking like, we got no employees, we got nobody to run it, and I'm looking at 3 managers, right, in the bar when you should be open. Mm-hmm. In my head, I'm like, you just fucking are throwing your hands up like I just don't care. I'm still getting my money. The restaurant's getting these grants. And these places some of these places that are out of business deserve the extra money to try to get through it. You know, they deserve the help. But I just, like, people are bitching at employees taking unemployment, not going to work. I think a lot of businesses are equally doing the same thing. Like you said, it's a vicious cycle.
For sure. You have a lot of these.
They're going with greed because, I mean, you're around here, like in Hazel Park and Warren, hopefully down here where I live, Keith. They, the mom and pop party stores, all right? They don't scan anything anymore when you buy it. They punch in what they want. So the other day I went to Mona. Better not say the party store name. I went to party store, Kennedy Quinta area, right? Walked in there, got 3 cans of beer. It said on the cooler, 3 for $3.49. So with deposit and tax, that's $4. I got a pack of cigarettes, $8. That's $12. I got a half pint of Fireball. That's $5.25. All right. Charged me $23.85. I said, where the hell did you come up with this? And the guy looked at me. He goes, no, I punch it in. It's okay. I said, I don't give a shit if you punch it in. I said, it says 3 for $3.49 over there plus tax and deposit. I said, my cigarettes are $80. I said, that's $5.25 here, which he charges more than everyone else for liquor. He's like, yeah, no, we do it like this. I said, yeah, no. I said, you give me my $20 back in 5.
Yeah.
And I went through that 2 different party stores here locally in Warren.
And that's what it's a greed shit. And to all those people, the employees who are taking advantage of unemployment, not wanting to go back to work, to the businesses that are doing the same thing, overcharging, everybody, you are equally responsible and fucking guilty of keeping this shit going and destroying our workforce, our economy, and just our general welfare. You know, they are all a part of it. People are always bitching at others, but those who are doing this are equally responsible. There are those of you necessity, but you are destroying it for all the rest of them. All right. Formal is still here. He didn't respond, but Formal is still here. So let's do his question really quick before we get done. Okay. Okay. You have 48 hours where all of time stops. People cannot see you or do anything. What would you do? and he's looking to see what type of things people would do under the guise of no one knows or can do anything. All time stop. What would you do? So let's start with Gabe, because he's always got a good thing.
Hold on. I got to read this whole thing. So you have 48 hours where all of time stops. People cannot see you or do anything. What would you do? No one knows or can do anything.
All the time stops, so I guess all the people stop. I love these questions you give us. It's like I'm in school again.
So you're sort of the Flash at this point, where,
Yeah, pretty much.
The Flash scene.
Stop, not slow, but yeah. So,
as far as, like, would you rob banks?
I'd rob a
Things
bank.
like that. I would hella rob banks. Yeah.
I think that's the...
100%. I wouldn't
For
go
sure.
crazy, right? But I'd rob a bank so I could pay off all my, stuff, buy me a nice house, and then go about my life.
I mean, so 40... Yeah.
I have a question about the whole robbing banks and shit, because everybody says that, and, it's very appealing. Why has everyone else got to pay for this? Like, is there any guilt in anything? They won't be. They will crash. Because you think you're the only person that's robbing a bank in this.
Like I said, I'm not trying to.
If you rob a bank and everyone else robs the bank, they're insured, and the government has to cover it. That's what the government insurance.
Yeah, but it still fucks
are.
everybody.
It does fuck everybody.
Because then your taxes are going to go up, but you got what you wanted, so.
I'm not looking to rob a bank for millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking to rob a bank to clear out my mortgage and my truck payment.
True.
Right? I'm not one of those guys that's like, I'm gonna rob a bank for $1 million. No, I'll still go back to work 48 hours later. I just want to pay off all my debt, so I'm good.
I honestly think I would be more likely the one to go into these companies.
He doesn't say, are you going to pay for what you did after the 48 hours is over? That's the question. All right, so you got 48 hours. Are you going to pay for it?
Yeah.
Are they going to know? That's the other part of the question.
But, it's the other people that do have to pay for it. I would be more likely to go to, like you said, if I truly could do this, I would go to my fucking mortgage company and I would get on their computer. And I would make that shit disappear.
You change the shit. You get someone to hack in and change everything for everybody.
Yep.
You know what
I might also print out like 2.5 million lottery tickets just to make sure I have one in there somewhere.
You know what would be great is if you knew the wherewithal to find them, go into because if you're talking about bank heists and things like that, one of the cooler things to do, I think, would be to find all of the patents or sort of secret recipes of modern medicine and grab it all as far as you can and then share it with everybody, everywhere. In that in that moment, grab as much information about all of those things that are sort of hidden, at cancer research.
It's a good thing Elena's not here. She would stick everybody with a vaccine. That's a good thing.
But then you can also find out sort of, in those moments how, everything behind the scenes. There's so many things behind the scenes. So if you could do that, I think it's sort of even the playing field,
I don't think I could, like I said, when it comes to it, don't think I could do anything that would damage another person. I think I could in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I think the aftermath of it.
Well, everyone can in the moment. I mean, yeah,
but overall, I don't think I could live with that. But I definitely would be for altering systems, altering debts, changing rates. I don't care if
Project Mayhem, the speed of light. All right, my biggest thing would be you go into every government facility there is and see what the fuck is going on.
Declassify everything.
Right, yeah.
You're damn straight. They go in there and see if they know about aliens, see if they know about Bigfoot, see what they know, everything else in the world. Because, I mean, I've dealt with part of this when I was a young man, when I was 26 years old, and it never comes out.
When you were 26 years old, that probably would have been a big deal. The thing is, right now, would that even matter? Do you think people are going to believe that's real government?
But
I'm saying...
From what I did, Keith, from what I did when I was 26 years old, it is a big deal because when you get promised something and you're told, you're told something and everything like that, and it doesn't happen, and the government says it never happened, it's a big deal.
No, what I'm referring to is you get this proof out of the government, but people are totally decided one direction or another whether they're going to believe the government or not, whether they're going to believe your proof even anymore. Nowadays is what I'm saying.
Oh, no,
does that have the same impact?
It's fake news.
That, yeah.
Yeah, like they would just, you could literally, hey Keith, did you go to McDonald's for your tea? No.
And the question,
Somebody edited this shit in.
the question itself is problematic because you don't have super speed. You're just freezing time for 48 hours. So you're not going to be able to fly anywhere.
I mean,
wait a minute, if you're freezing time, how do you know 48 hours passed?
It's not really a lot of time.
That's true. But what I'm saying is, if it's only for 48 hours, you still have to get somewhere. So if you are in a place like Michigan, you could go to a couple spots, but you're not going to, the major spots. It's going to take you a full day to get anywhere sort of important to find out things like that,
Now, what could you really do, though? There's also another thing to look at in today's world with freezing time. That does freeze every electronic device out there. If you are freezing time, there is nothing that works because we're in an electronic world.
Right?
Yeah. On there, like there's even getting into a building or anything like that could be damn near impossible, just because it's an automated door.
Mm-hmm.
So there's
Why
a little
you
bit.
rob a bank?
Yeah.
How are you going to get into it?
Blowtorch. Oxyacetylene torch.
It doesn't work
But you
anymore.
can't use a blowtorch because time is frozen.
Well, but if you're going that deep into it, then you're not going to be able to move.
But if time is frozen, then you can't move either.
Right, exactly.
Well, no, because you can move with time frozen, but it didn't say any devices you are currently having are going to function the same. You can move, and it could be just what you would see or do, what you would want to know. It could be something you never made contact with anything. He's not, I think he's still here just watching us and not saying anything, because we've got a viewer from Twitch, and I think it's him, and he's just watching us figure this out. But it doesn't say whether or not you can.
I'm
it just says
operating
time frozen.
on the notion that whatever you touch works.
Exactly.
It's part of you. That's fair. All right, so I guess there's your answer.
I'm going to get in a car, that car's going to work.
Exactly.
If I grab a blowtorch, the blowtorch.
Yeah, but what if you come up to a red light?
Plane's going to work?
It's never going to switch.
No one else is moving, and they can't see what you're doing, so you don't have to stop it, though.
Now you're breaking more laws.
It doesn't matter. Nobody
Right.
sees what you're doing.
You just get out of the
Nobody
car,
knows.
pull them out.
Oh, so if I steal from somebody, nobody sees it, it's all right?
Have you not played Grand Theft Auto 5? Like, come on.
Everybody sees it there, though.
Yeah, and then you run from the cops and grab a rocket launcher.
Go out, beat up a hooker, get back in your car, go.
But what are some of the truly, chaotic things that you could do besides robbing a bank or
That's a common thing, is
sort of
something to financially benefit.
stealing government secrets?
I'd go up and smack a bunch of people.
Yeah. Then they just wake up and be like, damn. What the?
Just smack everybody that you don't like, and then when the time stops being frozen, their face hurts and they don't know why. But
Right.
you have that satisfaction of just bitch smacking them.
And
Yeah,
then
that
just-
could work. No one knows. No one can do anything. Back to the question on there. I don't know. What would you do if it wasn't to financially benefit you or see government secrets? I'd probably do something that Formal wouldn't like. I'd want to know whose dick was bigger than mine. I'd go in all showers and finding out.
in 48 hours?
Well, people I know, I can get to most of my friends' houses.
But at the same time, if time stops, I'm about to get weird here. If time stops,
I don't want to know where this is going now.
they're going to be stuck in either no erection or mid. So you're not going to be able to work them up to see.
I don't need the
What would
erection.
you
To
do
see
if
what
time
full-
stopped and you saw someone mid fucking wank?
Yeah.
Could I do like
It'd just be like, yep.
Or mid finale, and that's all just stopped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you never see that in the
What I
Flash
do
movies.
would, yeah, it would definitely, it wouldn't be pretty what I would do. But I would fuck them up just because I could, and there wouldn't be another opportunity for something like that.
You could go and, spunk on everybody, and then it freezes, and then when time starts, then they just come on their
Right.
All you do, you move. If it's a guy mid-wank, mid-whatever, I'm going to find his family, I'm going to move him into the room that he's in, and I'm going to replace the magazine. And I'm going to replace the magazine with, like, bestiality shit. And, like, the opposite of whatever he's looking at, maybe. Who knows? And just
Give him
right
a
there.
Reader's Digest.
Right? You could say National Geographic, but that was useful at times.
Yeah, Reader's Digest.
All right. Well, it was a good conversation. Formula, I do believe he was still watching. This was good for the show. We should be back Wednesday. I know our shows have been on and off a little bit here. We haven't been having as many, and with the summer and everything going on, and people who are getting back to work and doing stuff, we're a little low on our panelists sometimes. But our shows will continue. They're still going to be back. If we have one time without them or a couple without them, they will be back. So please don't worry about that. I'm not sure what the topic will be Wednesday. We might go back to the topic we missed about a healthier life, or we might have a different topic. We'll let you know in the future, because at the time we got to make sure we have the panelists
We're talking about the sex show, right?
No, the sex show. I am not going to do the sex show till people show up to the topic shows. Because they got to earn that shit. I don't want to do another sex show, Bill, where we have all guys talking about it.
All right, I'm going to go down to Centerfold and get all the girls and get them on here, all right?
Oh, sex show's coming up next week then. I'm like, you get them on there, we can do this. But I want to make sure I have the right panelists for that right now. But then again, thank you, everybody, for being here. This was really good. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow. As I said before, live chat. You can chat with us anytime by going to our website, yourshouldervoice.com, or just going to Facebook, and you can message us at any time. If somebody's around, we'll talk to you about anything on your mind, no matter how deep, no matter how dark or lighthearted or funny. It doesn't matter. We're there for you to talk to. Call into the show anytime. This has been your open forum. I think that's pretty much everything, right? I covered it. We're good. We're all good. All right. Well, Anthony, Gabe, Bill, awesome having you here.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. You all have a great night.
You too.
Peace. Hey guys, Keith Liffin here for Ear Shoulder Voice. While you're here, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow so you can be notified of all our upcoming broadcasts that we'll be bringing to you live every week. Or head on over to our brand new social network and website, earshouldervoice.com, where you can be notified of all our show schedules, suggest new topics, join others like you in a judgment-free zone, or be a guest panelist yourself. Yes, you good boy, you good boy. Howdy. Well, that's the after show, all right. I was like, where's Sadie?
She's not home.
Oh,
She's on vacation.
that's fair.
Any stuff? Any?
Well, it was a nice show. It was a gentle show.
Yeah.
Any?
Good.
Nice laid back, easy. Hello.
I got my puppy named
I
Joe.
see.
Very nice.
Yeah, see?
Well, she's getting big.
Oh yeah. It's gonna be 8.
Wow. So
No.
cute. Puppy.
Not by
Her. You. Me. Anthony. Bill. We're all cute.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah, see what she's. Yours is out of control.
Stop.
Well, we got to cover everything I mentioned, so that's good.
Yeah.
We don't usually get to do that.
No, it's rare that happens.
Good night.
Come here.
Good night.
Look. Come here.
Good night.
Get up.
I didn't expect the Marvel DC thing to last as long as it did, but that's good.
That was good.
That was nice to talk about. I just can't believe you didn't like the second Suicide Squad. I didn't think it was like
It's
the
not
best
that I
movie
didn't
ever.
like it. It's
but
just that I expected much better. But I liked the first one, so that's I think.
See,
where the
that's
difference-
unique. Yeah, I didn't like the first one, but that's fair.
I'm excited for
Sure.
Venom to come out, the second one.
I might be. Yeah, I might be.
I just saw the trailer for that.
Yeah, I like the first one. I thought
I
it could
loved
be.
the first one.
I thought it could
was
be
great.
darker though. Like,
Yeah, I didn't like the first one for that reason only. Like I
yeah,
didn't-
like if they're gonna go, they should go dark.
and that's the weird thing.
on
Is
Venom.
sometimes there's the shows I'm like, damn, I wish DC did this one. You know, like stuff like Venom. I wish that was a DC property because DC, especially when it comes to like streaming DC, they've got that dark grittiness to them.
Yeah, Venom definitely needs to be
No.
under the violent lens.
Boy, Bill's having a really fun time right now.
That's why Spawn failed. You know.
Well, I got her. All right, so we're out in the middle of the Alaskan wilderness, and she's my Karelian bear dog, but she's a fucking bitch, man. I tell you. I mean, she usually loves me. She don't like the girls, but.
Are you
So her stablemate is not here, so she's all spunky and wants to play, but she bites.
Oh boy. Oh boy. All right. Well, that's well, I don't know what else I got. I don't know if I have anything else. Is that it? I don't know. There's a finish for you. There's a finish for you.
Happy
That
Sunday.
just- those 500 new likes would just disappeared. Oh. Oh wait, we got different likes.